Hey, I'm Ton Vin, and this is Seattle Eats, a food podcast from the Seattle Times and KUOW. You know, there are thousands of restaurants all over Puget Sound, so many to choose from. And restaurants have these hidden gems. You know, dishes you would never think to order, but secretly stand out. It's almost like you need people to go around to try every dish at every Seattle restaurant. Luckily, I eat for a living, and so do my fellow food writers at the Times. Yeah, we've got you covered. Today, we brought some favorites into the studio. From creamy goat peanut soup to sweet savory habanero sauce to a tangy tomato pie. We're bringing you 3 of the best dishes we tasted in the past year. I can't wait to tell you about them. The gang's all back. Bethany, Jean, Clement, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
And Jackie Varriano, glad you're here as well.
Me too.
Okay, we eat out a lot, obviously. But if you were to count, how many dishes did you have last year, Jackie?
Like, you say that like I'm not a mathematician. I eat at like 2 or 3 restaurants a week, 49 to 50 weeks out of the year. I don't know. What's that, 1 billion?
That sounds like math.
That sounds like math. 200? 300? Yeah, I don't know. Do you know?
I am not a mathologist either. I do know it sort of depends on what you count as a dish.
Yeah.
Like I ate every lobster roll in the city of Seattle.
How many
this
was that?
past June? 8? I don't even remember that. But yeah, for me, probably 2 to 5 restaurants a week. And I actually got out my phone and used the calculator. And I'm ballparking at 500 dishes a year, which is a lot.
Yeah, I would say that's about right.
Yeah.
For me, and don't try this at home, boys and girls, I binge. So every other day, I eat the first dinner around 4 or 5 o'clock when the restaurants first open. Then I go to happy hour as a second meal and meet someone there. And then I will have a third meal around 8 p.m. with friends and so forth. And I do that every other day. So I think in terms of new restaurants and bars, at least 120 different restaurant and bars. I mean, there are repeats. And yeah, about over 500 meals, dishes.
I mean, this is radio, so you can't see that my mouth is just hanging open with the 3. How many miles are you running a week? That's what I want to know.
I run in the morning 6 miles. And if I'm not running 6 miles, I will do hot yoga with a hoodie on.
What?
It's a poor man's sauna.
Wow. Okay.
This is intense. I love this. I want to know more.
So, we probably eat 1,000 dishes a year.
Oh, at least.
Right?
Among us.
Yeah. So all told, when we came up with our list of best dishes, I would say that's based on over 1,000 dishes we had last year.
I would say closer to 1,500.
Probably. Yeah.
So what were your criteria in picking your favorites, Bethany, for you? Was it just like, hey, it tastes good?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there are any exact criteria. It is sort of, it when you eat it. And when it's something that you're talking to your friends about and saying you have to go eat this, and the things that keep coming to your mind while you're eating other things that you don't like as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Jackie?
I think same. I always tell myself that I'll get better the next year and I'll keep a list like throughout the year. But no. Now this is the year 2025. Because otherwise I just have to look back at my paper calendar and remember every restaurant I went to and just think if anything immediately rises.
Yeah. I think for me it's just taste. If it tastes great, it tastes great. And I think my second criteria, I would call it the Tokyo Paris taste test. And what that is like when you're in Tokyo or Paris, they make great dishes out of just simple ingredients like steamed carrots with butter was one of the best things I ate in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And that's what I look for. I think, 1, does it taste great? And 2, the simple dishes. Those are what lure me a lot. So those are usually my criteria.
See, for me, it could be something super simple, like a classic French dish or a slice of incredible pizza. But it could also be one out of a multi-course prefix dinner, one course that just is mind-blowing, that has 10 different ingredients that just all come together like a beautiful song.
I mean, but also I think about what you said, Bethany. I was in Montreal over the winter break, and I saw this focaccia topped with tomato, and I was like, oh, it's just like my favorite one. And it was like a thing that you want it to be as good as the thing that you remember.
Right.
And it never is. It was trash. Sadly.
Well, this is great because I think our dishes covered the entire range from complicated dish to the simple ones. So let's get to it. Bethany, what did you bring?
I brought the goat peanut soup from Gold Coast Gal Kitchen on First Hill. It costs $20, which is not too much for soup. Hello. Soup can be a beautiful entree that just happens to be in a broth format. And this is a beautiful entree in a broth format. It's $5 extra if you want the fufu, and you do want the fufu. So this goat peanut soup is a classic dish from Ghana, also known as groundnut soup. It gets this toasty taste and creamy thickness from peanut butter. It has this deep tomato tang to it, tons of warming ginger. It's always got like some slippery okra. And the goat meat is in hunks that are soft but also have a really nice chew to them. You have to watch out for little pieces of bone.
So, Bethany, for people who haven't tried it, what is fufu?
So it's plantain. It's mashed by hand. Chef owner Tina Fambule at Gold Coast told me one of her arms has gotten way more muscly than the other from making
pounding it?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Call that the fufu workout. I don't know. So then it's this pale gold. It gets formed into this like really plump, lovely dumpling. People who are texture eaters, like me, anything sort of like squidgy is the word I use to describe it. It's not mushy. It's like firm but pliant, and the texture is miraculous, and the flavor is vegetal and subtle and really yummy, especially with like contrasting with this rich soup.
Okay, let's eat. I just can't wait anymore. This just smells delicious.
Yeah, it smells so good.
Oh, I love the flavor, Bethany.
It's rich, but it's super balanced. It feels warming and comforting. It's one of Seattle's very best comfort foods, I would say. And if you're in the restaurant, sometimes Chef Tina will be there, and she might come by and offer you more broth, and then she'll bring hot broth to you in a little pitcher and pour it into your bowl, and it feels like someone really loves you in that moment. It's wonderful.
Bethany, I love that you brought this dish here because when people think of soup in Seattle, I think we just have a myopic and provincial view of soup because we usually like bone broth, and if it's usually pork or beef, and this is just perfect. I like the peanut taste. I like that it's goat meat. It's not too gamey. I like it's kind of stewy. This is just perfect.
Yeah, it's majestic.
Yeah, and I don't know why you wouldn't get it with the fufu. It adds so much to it.
Yeah. And one of the things I love about this is Seattle, we don't have a lot of innovative dish or like unique dishes like this. And I encourage people to go out of their comfort zone to try something like this. It's a goat soup. It doesn't sound sexy. But it's
sexy
delicious.
to me, Tom.
Fine, but not for everyone.
Don't goat soup shame people.
So this is, for me, because here's one thing about Seattle. We're a bunch of copycats. And if people eat a lot of this soup, I guarantee you other restaurants would do the same.
Are going to start making it?
It's like smash burgers and everything. We're a bunch of copycats. Whatever works, people are going to do it.
It's interesting you bring that up because Chef Fambule was born in Liberia, raised in Ghana until she was 9 years old. Then she and her family were in Philadelphia. Then they were in Minneapolis. When she got here, she couldn't find the foods of her home countries, West Africa in general, really at all. And her friends loved her dinner parties. And then she started doing pop-ups. She was working full-time. She got the space over on First Hill. She did the renovations, much of the work all by herself. The space looks beautiful. And Gold Coast Gal Kitchen has become one of Seattle's favorite restaurants. One of mine for sure.
And mine too. And it's just perfect for this weather. I encourage everyone to try this. That's delicious. Thank you, Bethany. Jackie, you're up next. What did you bring for show and tell?
I brought the tomato pie from Tivoli in Fremont. It is $7, and it is a thick slab of focaccia that's topped with some tomato sauce, a little olive oil, oregano, and flaky salt.
This looks great. Jackie, how do you eat this?
Okay, so it's the first thing on the menu. It's just listed as an appetizer, and this is how it comes. But a hot tip that is not listed on the menu is that Chef Jim McGurk says to order a side of ricotta and eat each bite with a dollop of ricotta. So it's kind of a choose-your-own adventure situation.
Oh, wow. I'm excited. Let's try it. I love it.
I've never had this. I like this so much better than their pizza.
Really? You've never had this before? Well, it's easy to overlook, I think.
It is. It's a lot of umami. And it's very clean. Because I think the problem with a lot of pizza in the United States is so mucked with so many toppings.
Yeah.
And here, it's like an open sandwich or even a simple pizza. I would say a Roman-style pizza. It was just focaccia, which is very buttery. I like the honeycomb. I like the sponginess of it.
Yes. And like I said, how I found something like this in Montreal, I've also had similar style dishes elsewhere on the East Coast. I've eaten it in Italy. But when I asked Jim McGurk about it, who is the chef at Tivoli, he said that they got the inspiration from a Philly staple. So I've never been to Philly in outside of cheesesteak land, so I cannot confirm or deny that. But Bethany, you have some experience in Philadelphia. Do you remember seeing anything like this there?
Tomato pie is a Philly
Is a Philly thing?
Jersey
Okay.
thing. I'm with you though on this. This transports me to a place I walked into in Rome where you bought this by the pound.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You're like, this is the best thing I've ever
eaten in my life.
And this is also that good.
Yes.
The pillowiness, there's a crispiness to the top and bottom crust. And
yeah.
And it would not taste as good, I think, if you just pile on a whole bunch of sausages and cheese and herbs. Yeah, it's just, I like the clean
tomato and bread. That's all you need.
It's perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
An Italian person or a Jersey or Philadelphian would slap you across the face for putting more stuff on this.
More stuff on it. Right? Yeah. So he said it took them a while to perfect it because if they did a par bake that was too short, it was gummy. The focaccia turned kind of gummy. And if they did it too long, then the sauce started to slide around because it had developed too much of a crust on top. So they reheat each slice on a hot oven deck, which warms it and re-crisps the bottom. But you really are getting it by the time it comes to your table from that quick reheat. It's mostly room temperature, which is, I think, the best way to eat it. It shouldn't be like a hot tomato pizza.
Oh, you're right. Because if it's too hot, I don't think
you lose.
The alchemy is a little off.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me that the bread is so good because given the pedigree, right? Because I think it's owned partly by the guy behind Post Alley Pizza, one of the best slices, and also by the guys behind Saint
Bread.
Saint Bread, yeah. New York Times Best Bakery and semifinalist for the Jane's Beard Award.
Yeah.
I could eat the bread by itself. It's so good.
I mean, yeah. I've actually taken it home and eaten it the next day. It's just as good the next day.
How do we feel about the ricotta? It kind of complements, the richness and the high quality of the olive oil is super evident.
Yeah.
And then this creamy ricotta on it is...
Which I wonder, I need to ask Jim if they make their own, because sometimes you get a ricotta and it just almost tastes grainy and kind of not, it's too milky. And this has some body to it that is really good.
And it looks like a beautiful little cloud.
Bethany's always so poetic, and I'm just like, yeah, it's good.
I can actually do less with the ricotta and the tomato sauce because the bread is so good.
Yeah.
I want the other components to be like the backup singer because the star to me is the bread.
Yeah.
Hot take from Todd.
Hot take from Todd.
And on, last but not least, moi. I brought to show and tell a creamy habanero salsa sauce with chips, with house-made chips. The dish is from Tacos Extra on Heroes, and it's located inside Fair Isle Brewing in Ballard. It's $6, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just chips and salsa. And I know what people are saying. Did he really pick a chips and salsa as one of the best dishes? Yes, I did. And it's not even a hot take. And let me tell you why. As someone who eats a lot of tacos and go to a lot of like taco cities, great taco cities like LA and Austin, Texas, they have great salsa there. And here, it's just, it's more like an afterthought. And then I went to this place in Ballard, and it just knocked my socks off. The originality of this sauce, the surprisingness, the depth, and just the spiciness. I just love the way it was put together. So the chef behind this is Chef Bo Tarantine. He worked at 2 Michelin star restaurants in California. He moved here because he figured, well, LA is a big taco city. Seattle is not as big. He's trying to make his name with his tacos, and he's doing a good job so far. He attracts a lot of chef and industry people, and a long lines for his tacos. But for me, the salsa is what's really original. And what's funny is, he didn't even mean to do this salsa. What happened was, he put on the menu a trio of salsa. Only problem is, when he added up, oh, there's only 2. I have a green and a red. And he needed a third sauce. And he looked on the counter, and all he had was garlic, onion, and chili peppers. And so instead of going shopping, he just roasted the garlic, caramelized the onions, and emulsified the ingredients. And maybe, I would say, put a little vinegar, and voila, the best salsa in the city. So let's taste it.
They're so crunchy.
Yeah. And you know one of the things I hate about is like when chips and salsa are complimentary at restaurants because they usually suck.
Of course, you would have a hot take on a free dish at a restaurant.
No, and see, this is good. This is why you should pay for chips and salsa. You have a fresh sauce that's very original, and you have these chips. And this is so much better than what you get out of a bag, even the Juanita bag with tortilla chips. They're dense, right? It's really dense. And like the inferior chips, when you bite into it, they just crumble into powder. But this is like has a dense, nicely masa bite. A taste of corn.
And they're glistening a little bit with the perfect grease factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not too salty. Sometimes when a chip has way too much salt on it, then you can't taste anything else.
Yeah. And you know, when I tasted this, I thought it was whole milk or cream. But this is a vegan salsa. There is no milk in this. When I first tasted it, I also thought it was a mole because it had that earthy nuttiness. But again, it's just the magic of these 3 ingredients, just roasted garlic and caramelized onions.
It's 3 ingredients?
That's crazy.
And chili peppers, yeah.
It's so floral, but also so creepy in spice. Like it's creeping. I've had one bite of it, and it's almost like Szechuan pepper, like in that it continues. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that it's completely dairy-free, it almost vibes that like canned nacho cheese. Like there's a smoothness to it. That's really
it's not,
extraordinary.
You know, when I first tasted it, it tasted like, if you've ever been to Mexico, they have this salsa where they taste roasted grasshopper, and they use their mortar and pestle, and they just pound into a salsa. And that's what it tastes like to me a little bit. Has that funky earthiness to it. And I realized I just freaked out all the vegans after I said this is a vegan salsa. But I guarantee you there are no grasshoppers.
Okay,
no grasshoppers were killed
in the making of this salsa that we know about. Did you eat it on their tacos, or did you just eat it with the chips?
Oh, I had on their tacos. And they make some of the best pork tacos. But you can get good pork tacos around the city, but you can't get salsa this good in the city. And I think that's what makes them so unusual. His pop-up is just 3 days a week to get his name out there. It's open on Sundays for brunch and on Mondays and Tuesdays from 4 to 8 p.m. And so far, if you go like I do on a Monday or Tuesday, you see a lot of industry and other chefs. It's been a hot spot for sure.
Okay, but can you buy this salsa, Ton? Can you like get a thing of it like you just brought?
Oh, I'm sure you can. They sell for $6 with chips and salsa, but if you get to go, he'll just give you a tub of it. You just got to pay a little more.
Is the $6 for the trio or just one? Can you pick one?
Right now, this sauce has been so popular that he doesn't serve the trio anymore.
No way. Seriously?
It's just this hot sauce with house-made chips.
Forget all other salsas.
Forget the green and the red got axed?
I think you can request it, But really, if you go there, you can get this salsa. There is no other choice, really. People would just look at you weird.
Okay, so this salsa reminds me of one of my other favorite dishes from last year, which was a birria taco from Grumpy's in Tequila. And they didn't have the best salsas, but they had the best tacos. And I think I could take that taco and a tub of this salsa, and it would be like a match made in heaven.
Oh, you're like the master hack. I love that. God, we had over 1,000 dishes last year. Over 1,000 dishes. What about you, Bethany? What else did you like?
Another of my very favorites from 2024 is the Little Gem Salad at Paju in South Lake Union. They make gorgeous modern Korean food there. And this is sort of a take on a classic steakhouse wedge salad, but it's made with little gem lettuce, pistachio cream dressing, lemon zest, 4 kinds of tiny micro herbs. It's salad magic.
Okay, so is there like a cheese that replaces the blue cheese in a wedge?
There's Parmesan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I described this salad in print as looking like an elf had built a house and decorated the roof or something ludicrous like that. And I stand by that ridiculousness.
I love that. I love that. What else did we have that was good this year? I'm going to go way, way up north. The smoked turkey at Jeff's Texas-style barbecue in Marysville. And yes, it's lunch meat, people. But what it is, it's smoked turkey, and it's dipped in butter. And I'm warning you right now, if you've had this, if you haven't tasted it, you will never go back to Oscar Mayer or Safeway Select again. This is the best turkey breast.
And
Okay.
we know that Ton hates turkey breast.
And so I love that this is one of your favorite picks because you have gone on the record multiple times talking about how you do not care if you ever eat turkey again.
And will deign to eat dark meat, but will not touch white meat turkey.
No.
Yes, okay. For listeners out there, I've gotten so much hate mail because during Thanksgiving, I said turkey sucked. And man, I was called a commie, a hipster who doesn't know what he's talking about, and some racist comment. And turkey just sucked to me. It doesn't work. It's so dry. It just tastes like sand.
Until you smoke it and dip it in butter.
And then I had this pit master, Jeff, from Jeff's Texas-style barbecue, and he specialized in brisket. So usually people don't get the turkey. It's more like a consolation prize. It's like all the briskets are sold out.
I can't understand how you ever would have ordered it.
Same.
Right?
Exactly, and that's what it is. And that's how people order it because they're known for their brisket, and people stand in lines for their brisket. And if you're late, like I was one day, hungover, another story. So there was nothing left. So I said, well, I guess I'll try the smoked turkey. And it was fantastic.
A desperation turkey move.
Yeah.
Exactly. And all it is he smokes the turkey. So it's moist already. He slices it up and he dips it in melted butter. So it acts like a sealant where it keeps the flavor and the moisture in.
So the melted butter dip happens right before you get it?
Yeah. They slice, it's a hunk of turkey breast. He'll slice it, and then he'll take each slice and they'll dip it into the melted butter.
Okay, this is cheating, but it's the kind of cheating I can totally get behind.
Right?
Dip anything in butter. I'll eat it.
There you go.
8 out of 10 items for sure.
Jackie, Bethany, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm going to eat all of the rest of this food right now.
Yeah, I'm taking the salsa.
I'm taking the rest of the tomato pie.
All right. That's it for today. We have a list of all the dishes we talked about in the description of this episode. Thanks for listening to Seattle Eats. The show is a production of the Seattle Times and KUOW, part of the NPR network. You can support Seattle Eats by investing in the local newsroom and the specialized beats that make this sort of storytelling possible. Please consider joining and subscribing at kuow.org/eats and seattletimes.com. Seattle Eats is produced by Claire McGrain and Lucy Suchek and edited by Jim Gates and Trevor Lensmeyer. I'm Ton Vin. See you next week.